All right. Thank you
Hello.
guys so much for joining me today. This is definitely a treat.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, for having us.
I'm here with Gary and Christopher in the new documentary with Robert Englund, Hollywood Dreams and Nightmares, the Robert Englund story, be releasing on June 6th, and that's on Robert's birthday.
Yes.
It'll be on digital and the Screenbox streaming service, and it'll be on Blu-ray and Steelbook, I believe July 25th.
I believe so, yes.
That is
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. Very exciting.
You know what, guys? Hands down, this was amazing. You know, coming from a long time Elm Street fan, a Robert fan, absolutely amazing. I couldn't ask for something better. This is definitely a gift to the fans, and thank you so much.
It's really, we've not had any feedback from anybody yet. So this is brilliant for us today.
We like you.
You know, it touched upon a lot of stuff I didn't know about. I thought I knew everything about Robert. I thought, you know, I just knew everything, and there was so much I didn't know. And he's so much more than Freddie, and your documentary really shows that. He talked about, you know, overcoming, you know, the stigma of, you know, was it a curse? Freddy Krueger. Also talked about, you know, what drove him into Freddy mode. You know, he discussed that, and about respecting the genre, and a lot of that coming from Wes Craven himself. It was great. I mean, I think you interviewed almost 40 people, or had 40 people a part of it. Why did you decide to pick Robert? I mean, what like for the documentary, like doing one on Robert?
Yeah. I think first off, we were absolutely amazed that nobody has done a documentary on Robert Englund. It's just ridiculous. How can nobody have done one? And secondly, I think, you know, I don't know for me and for Chris, I've been a fan of Robert and Freddie since I was about 4 or 5 years old, you know, and I had a poster of Freddy Krueger on my bedroom wall at 5, 6, you know, and I was having Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2 as a Christmas present on VHS and lending it out to my friends at school. So he's always been there, Robert has, and Freddy Krueger, and so he's the icon for me in regards to horror. And I love Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing, and then it's Robert for me. So it was obviously just inevitable that we'd eventually work with Robert somehow. You know, we've done these documentaries before on films like Hellraiser, Fright Night. We were gutted that somebody else had done Nightmare on Elm Street. Our friend Mikey Perez had done that, and they've Sleep Again. So this was a way of working with Robert, but also celebrating Robert. So it was just kind of like perfect kind of serendipity for us to basically him say yes to us and do the doc. So it had to be done. I think, you know, it's a crime that no one's done it before, but I'm glad it was us that did it. I'm proud it was us.
Gary's just too shy to admit that all he wanted to do was meet Robert to get a photo. Like, shit, we better do something with you now. Let's do your life story. But yeah, I couldn't agree more with Gary. Like, that was my main thing. It's like, seriously, no one's fucking done, you know, one of the and let's just say it now, and this is in a kind of biased way, the biggest horror actor of the last 20, 30 years.
Oh,
you know, there's great people out there, some fantastic performers, some horror regulars, but you know, the poster boy for horror has not been done yet, and that was what I was a bit dumbfounded about, to be honest.
I'm glad.
I didn't even think about it that way until you brought it up, and it's true. Nothing's been done definitively like this. And how did you pitch it to him?
It was really difficult for us to get hold of him. He's notoriously hard to get hold of, Robert, but we kind of knew if we got through Nancy, his wife, we convinced her. She's his gatekeeper, basically, she's bodyguard. So I wrote like a real long email, and it was kind of like he wasn't cliche or bullshit. He was actually from the heart, really, you know, as a fan, as a kid, again, growing up in the UK, you know, quite a deprived family, you know, working class family, you know, council estate. My love was always film, and always was film, and you know, and we've managed to have this career where we've been able to do documentaries and step out of that kind of like, you know, little UK towns that we lived in, and obviously branch out into film. And that was the kind of the picture, really. But the biggest kind of thing with Robert was that this was not just about Freddy Krueger. Obviously, Freddy's important, of course he is, but this is about the man behind the fedora and behind the glove. I think that's what sold it to Robert, was that we are fans of his career, and we're not just there to monopolize on Freddy Krueger. We know behind you was the picture of Freddy now. We know he's important because he made Robert's career, but we want to know about the man. We want to know about, you know, we want to explore the films that people don't really know he's in. And once we said that to Robert, he was game for it. He was on board, and he was fully engaged with us.
And I think it's going to open up a lot for people to go check out his films that they may not have known about. Like I didn't realize he was in Stay Hungry. I may have known, but I didn't
Yeah.
remember for certain. So I'm definitely going to go back and revisit it. And I'm hoping that, we see a lot of fans do that.
Yeah, I hope so.
They'll be showing that, I think, at the screening in Santa Monica. Robert was saying it's like the original 35mm print, which I'm really gutted to not be there at, because actually Stay Hungry was, I remember seeing that years ago. I've got a archaic VHS because I'm a big Schwarzenegger fan.
Yeah.
So that was my entry point into it. And then it's like, holy shit, it's Starman, Terminator, and Freddy Krueger, and Mrs. Doubtfire's ex, or Robin, in one film. What the hell?
Yeah, all together.
So, yeah, it's just unbelievable. So to be able to kind of talk about, those films, and I think hopefully it showcases in the doc, he's such a big film fan.
Oh, yes.
Oh my God, you're with James Cameron and he knows it. That's the best part. He obviously didn't at the time, but you can tell he kind of reverently looks back to go, yeah, no, James Cameron was the set designer on Galaxy of Terror. Schwarzenegger was my co-star. I starred with Henry Fonda. I chose in Pasadena, posing to be Illinois for Halloween. This guy appreciates, and hopefully that really comes across, at least for me anyway. He's not just saying it to show off. He's showing it like, oh, how cool is it? I was there. He's a fanboy like all of us.
Oh, and it's amazing that he still is that way after all these years. He hasn't been soured. I mean, every character he portrays, he's just so into, and he knows everything about them. And then he'll know anybody on the set. It feels like the guy moving the box across the way, he knows them. Like, and I saw you in this movie. I know this, and that. Yeah. He's just amazing cinephile. Amazing.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
Especially off camera.
Was there anybody that you wanted to get involved with this documentary that wasn't available, or you just couldn't get a hold of?
There's always I wanted Jeff Bridges, of course, and being a fan of Tron and stuff like that, you wanted to get, we tried, but obviously we couldn't get Jeff. We wanted Mark Hamill, obviously, because there's that story about, and it's always, I know Mark's talked about that story publicly about how he got the role. Was it actually Robert that got him the role? Robert is insistent it was. So we tried Mark Hamill, and there was a no from his people. And obviously Schwarzenegger's obviously going to be the one. You want to interview Schwarzenegger, don't you? And where you look where Robert was in Schwarzenegger's career, at the very start really was of his career. And so there was people like that. And obviously, there's people who have passed, who we couldn't obviously interview for obvious reasons. It's a bit of winter board. So yeah, those kind of people really. But again, you shape the documentary around them not being in it in the end, you do. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes it works just as good and them not being in it, as much as it sounds cliche and kind of like, it would have been great to have certain people like Jeff Bridges and Schwarzenegger, I think.
But you work with what you've got. We did, I think, am I allowed to say we did? I remember thinking, are we going to get to interview Alice Cooper? And I think there was
he'd agree.
Conflict.
Yeah.
So excited. I was hoping we could be with him backstage at a concert and he could give us the history of Milwaukee, like in Wayne's World, but it didn't come to pass, that one, did it? But
we had a few people who agreed to do it. I mean, God, my head's gone really blank. The chap who plays Jason in Freddy versus Jason. Oh,
Ken Kurtzinger.
Ken. Yeah. He had agreed as well, and we had Michael Berryman agree as well, because he had a horror icon. Scheduling these things, unfortunately, you've got to say no and then put a stop to it sometimes, because we'll be doing it forever, these docs, which we tend to do anyway.
How long did you work on it from start to finish?
Been 5 years, no, 4 years it's been. So that was obviously prep, meeting Robert, prepping it, and then going to film it in 2019. So we did 2 interviews in 2019 with Robert, and obviously the rest of the interviews, and then COVID hit. We can write off 2.5 years on COVID,
and then use what's in the doc.
yeah, exactly, yeah, and so if it wasn't for COVID, I think maybe things would have been really faster. But actually, it's helped us because it allowed me and Chris to work more collaboratively together and closer together, and obviously it allowed us to build a relationship with Robert over time more as well. I think because we built that over 3 or 4 years with Robert, when we got to meet him, when we got to spend time with him in situs, and we had the 4th interview. Our relationship was really cemented then. He was like, we were friends, and so he would be more open and talk to us. And I think you can tell his body language in the last interview that he's much more relaxed with people. He's a bit more chirpy, and he's not robotic answering questions. And you can see that throughout the doc. We know exactly when the interviews are filmed. but you can see
Yeah.
where he's very academic, bit more personal, then relaxed, and just the way he's sitting on the chair, he's quite chilled, and he's quite,
Yeah.
so COVID helped us in a weird way.
It worked fantastically though, that what Gary's saying there, because actually didn't think about it, but we did shoot the last interview in Sitges, which for me, who shot it, aesthetically it's like, stands out like a bloody sore thumb, but we had no choice. But it was actually to retrofit. We'd screened it did really well. He was happy, we were happy. He had a few suggestions, namely that we hadn't incorporated the Great Smoky Roadblock with Henry Fonda. I'm like, well, as the film fan, why didn't you say that to us on the other 3 interviews? We've got like 7 hours with you, mate, and you never mentioned you happen to work with one of the biggest Hollywood stars of his era, So it was great to retrofit that. But actually, as you said about COVID, Gary, I didn't think about this, but we interviewed him before Stranger Things season 4.
Yeah.
And it was all the red tape, so he couldn't really say much. I'm going to be in it. I think it was as much that really, and some very kind of loose comments by him and Nancy. But of course, because we had screened it, season 4's come and gone, and we've all seen it now. It's like, let's actually incorporate, the fact it's a modern take on Nightmare on Elm Street to a certain degree, with Vecna. And I think I felt that when we were doing the edit in the run up to Sitges. We got it ready for Sitges last October, and it was like, Stranger Things has come and gone now, and yet we've got an interview with him, which is a bit like, I happen to be in a new season of Stranger Things, and we tried, milking it for all it was worth, what we had, but there was not much to play with. However, we were able to now say, right, actually, in terms of the narrative of your story, and he was able to utilize that anecdote of kids, parents coming to conventions who were kids when he was Freddy Krueger, and how it's transcended to Vecna, and actually gives it more purpose being in the documentary, which I was really, really happy about. So that was quite fortuitous. And in terms of how long it's taken us, this is probably quite a record for us, really. I think we were just very lucky, well, it's not lucky with COVID, but I think it's actually the support of Screenbox. There you go, names. But Cinedom, who've really been supportive on this project and actually helped us realize it all the more. So 4 years, but had we chucked it out within a year of filming interviews where we only would have half the content, it would be nothing like this now. Our skills have advanced as, I hope, as filmmakers, and Screenbox's kind of support on this with what they've kind of, said they want to do with this project and everything like that is like, oh shit, this is real. We're not just going to be selling this from, Gary's basement where he, historically has had copies of books and documentaries we've done in boxes over the toilet where you've got to try and climb over to take a shit. So that's what's been great about this, really. It's just kind of been very positive, I think, this whole experience, hasn't it?
Yeah.
God, unfortunately I have to wrap it up, but that went like really quick. You guys were great. The documentary is great. People are going to love it. And I think it's going to create new fans. So congratulations, both of you. I can't wait to see what's up next for you guys. I read somewhere Night of the Demons, maybe documentary. So
don't mention that.
No.
No, we've got RoboDoc coming out, and then we've got, after that, Police Academy. Then we've got Night of the Demons, and then we've got another secret project. Two projects we're currently kind of like pitching to each other at the moment and arguing about. So there's definitely a few projects out in the next 5 years.
Well, Gary, Chris, thank you again so much, and keep it up. You guys are doing great. Thank you again.
Thanks so much,
Thank you.